Today's show is a little bit different. We talk about dreams that show psychic attacks. Not a topic we normally cover. If that's not your type of subject, skip this one. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and souls on their earth journey. Wait, let's stop here for a second. Eavesdropping. Is it possible for somebody else to eavesdrop on you without being physically present? Can that be done? The answer is yes. We never talk about it on the show, but we're doing it on this one. So let's just dive straight into it, shall we, Sandy?
Okay, yeah, this will be very interesting. I'm excited because they're kind of shocking dreams, which is totally different than what we would cover. So yeah, seeing the two pictures and noting the difference, and this is from Kay, was shown two pictures of the same room in a house by some guy. The guy showing the pictures was showing how much it had changed since he owned it. I could see the new family, a man and a woman and a younger girl and a smaller boy in the picture, and they were live. The boy and girl were playing, and the girl was teasing her mom for having installed this large copper or brass shiny table that had a carved out corner. The table was slanted. You could just speak at the table and your voice would be heard clearly throughout the house. That's how the mom would know if the dad needed something. Then the mom told the little boy to be careful because he would likely find love and a new family by doing what he was doing. There was a small saying inside a written box on a magazine page that had a specific saying about a family. She was telling him they were his family. All righty, Michael, this seems kind of interesting. Doesn't seem scary, so let's hear it.
All right. So this kind of unveils some of the work we do, but we tend to filter these type of dreams so they don't make it to the show. Sandy, question for you. Have you ever heard of devices being installed in someone?
So yes, I've heard of devices being installed in someone. Yes, and most people would not even know that it happened. And there are monitoring devices, communication devices, all kinds of interesting things that spiritually kind of hidden could be installed without you knowing. Let's see what you have to say, Michael. How does this dream show that?
We'll see that in a second, but I like how you just said that. Oh, I've heard of it. Sandy is able to remove these devices. This is one of her skills. This is what I thought she might start talking about that. No, I knew she wouldn't because it's not something we normally talk about. So, okay, what is it? Well, let's see this part of the dream. The boy and the girl were playing, and the girl was teasing her mom for having installed this large copper or brass table that had a carved out corner. You could just speak at the table and your voice would be heard clearly. So this is the monitoring device that's installed on the person. But it's not just a monitoring device. It also has another purpose. Look she's been shown two pictures. So this is what our higher self is saying at the start. Here's two pictures, the same room in the same house. What are the differences? And she says, I could see the new family, I could see the old family. And she's listing off all the things in it. Something was installed in the dreamer that's affecting her memory. And when I channeled on it, that's what I got. The copper device was installed that adds to the dreamer's memory. So it enhances her memories in a way that's not real. And the purpose of the device is to exert control over her. And in the dreams, she says the device, the table, of course, allows a voice to be heard clearly so she would know if something is needed. So somebody's going to command her to do things or ask her to do things, influence her. And I've had this experience myself, and I think I've talked about it on the show before. People who are nefarious can develop all sorts of skills, and one skill is the ability to influence you. And I remember when that was being done to me, and I noticed what I was thinking, which was, I really don't like this guy and I'm kicking you out of my house. And then this other thought that came into my mind, which was, oh, maybe I've got this all wrong and maybe I should be apologizing to this guy. And I was noticing both and going, that's crazy. How am I having two different threads of thought going on in my mind? But If you're not aware of this, if you can't spot those type of things, you will just think, oh, this is what I think, or this is how I feel. Because it's done in a way, like here they talk about love, like you belong to this family, you're one of us. So it has this sense of everything's okay and this is sweet with it. Anyway, can you see the device now that I've pointed it out and how it messes with her memories?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
So the dreamer was aware that something was up, and she was spooked by this dream. But here in this dream, we see her higher self showing her two pictures and telling her something has been changed. That's really the point of it. Like, can you see what's different? And what was changed was memories around her family have been altered. And she's looking at the scene, trying to figure out what the difference is. Now, that's the first dream. And 2 days later, she had this next dream. And we see the memory issue is still being pointed out. Now, she hadn't met with me to do any dreams yet. So when I got them all, these were all in succession. So this one is 2 days later. Sandy, over to you.
All righty. This one's titled Reinserting the Discs, once again from Kay. Was at a party and was walking with my dad to his car. He asked if the fencing was new and that I should touch it to check. When we got to the car, I noticed he had dropped 4 photo discs and I picked them up to reinsert them in his phone. He was getting his phone out of the truck and put it on the seat for me to do the discs. He then called my niece.
All right. So you might kind of almost ignore that. Oh, what's that memory thing? Maybe it's about her dad's memory, but everything in a dream is you. So here we see another memory issue, much more clearly this time. We see a little bit more. So dad has trained me to pay attention to things that are not on my path. Like, a squirrel, look at the fence, which is what dad is doing. And she will tell you stories about doing things with her dad. And you're like, oh my God, how do you not strangle this man? Because they could be rushing somewhere to get something, to do something. And it like, we've only 5 minutes to go. And he will say, can we stop here and get batteries? And things like that. It's like, it's just not possible. Now, her dad is 88. So we see a few things in the dream, but we see the issues with dad. She loves her dad, adores her dad, does everything for him. But we see that part of the dream, and then we see memory issues, memories falling out and being reinserted. So it's like a huge red flag. Why would you ever see this? Why would it ever show up in a dream?
I don't like the touching the fence. What's going on with that? Why would we touch anything in a dream to check it?
Well, that's a good point, but it's a distraction. That's really the point of it. Things are distracting her. They didn't really get away with what they were trying to do because her dreams pointed it out. She's very proficient with dreams herself, and she was able to tell something is up. And so we got it sorted really fast. But we see the distraction. So in that distraction, while I'm being distracted, my memory's being altered. Memory of dad, memory of those situations. But the other things we see is, she said dad uses her for mundane, kind of irrelevant stuff. Like, when I channeled on it, that's what I got, and she confirmed it. And then the niece, though, is the apple of dad's eye, and he uses her for absolutely everything that's important. Whereas she gets to go take him to pick up papers or meds. The niece is involved in everything that is really, really important. So we see that with dad, but the part that really stands out is the 4 photo discs. 4 is about limitation, so there's some limitation around memory that you need to address.
Yeah, so we're reinserting him in the phone, and then his phone is out in a truck. So what's going on there?
The phone shows remote influence, so communication at a distance. Let's move on to the next dream, because the next dream is the worst of all the 3 as far as I'm concerned. And so another dream from the same dreamer. And like I said, relax, we fix the problem for her. That's what we do at Ashling School. We don't just interpret dreams. So she had her first dream about the device, then 2 days later, another dream, again, alerting her to the memory problem. And then 3 days after that, the dream that Sandy's going to read now. So what does this show you? The amazing power of dreams, that if you don't invest any time into interpreting your dreams, you have no idea of the warnings you are ignoring. Dreams tell you about issues you don't even know that you have. They are invaluable. Dream interpretation is the bomb. So
I fully agree.
Yeah, but we do a lot of work with this, and devices are used. They're inserted into people for all sorts of reasons. One is easy access. One is for monitoring. Another is to hurt you, ultimately physically hurt you in some way. memory things we've seen before. I think
Yep.
we've even had those on the show before. But it's also another way of infiltrating you. So an infiltrator can get in, put in a device, and then when you clear that out, you're infiltrated again. So there are a whole host of things that you need to know about when you're working in the spiritual field that we cover that we don't generally talk about on the shows. But yeah, we do in our webinars. In fact, if you're ever wondering and have really strange questions, go to any of our channeling webinars. I know we've only done 2. But we answer all the questions, whatever's asked. If we have experience with it, we talk about that. And we have a lot of experience because we're doing this for decades and decades and we've seen a lot of bad things. So anyway, this next dream, Sandy.
All righty. The next dream is titling Jane's document. Once again, it's from Kay. I was titling Jane's document. Jane asked me to read through her write-up for her insurance paperwork and to come up with a title. I was getting the paperwork out of the drawer, but as I went to get it, there was a guy opening and closing my 3 drawers. I leaned over the desk to grab the file, and then somehow I was on a bus, and it was driving a route I knew. I decided to sit on the bus for the ride because it would give me time to read the document for Jane and come up with a title. The guy sitting in the back of the bus had a sheet of paper that he handed to me. I read details about places I had just been and family member names. This puzzled me. When I put it down to give it back, another guy there grabbed the paper to read it. Then I went back to Jane's document, ready to title it. All righty, that's very interesting.
So
I
now,
can't wait to see what you have to say, Michael, because this is a strange one.
after the first 2 dreams, it is definitely not a good dream. So we have someone being spied on. That's what we clearly see in this dream. And she catches the guy going through her office. An office in a dream is the mind. So going through her mind, but he had the power to instantly distract her. Like, look at the fence over there. And she goes to grab the file and ends up somewhere else. That's how he's distracted her. Then someone else grabs the papers again. When you put the 3 dreams together, it is clear that her sovereignty is being violated. And not just that, the sovereignty of her friend, Jane. Working with Jane is probably where Kay got the issue from. Fortunately for her, though, her dreams alert her to the problem and she got them resolved through us, including the original problem that Jane had. Anything, Sandy?
Well, Michael, that's very interesting. So we've got paperwork out of a drawer. So what did you say a drawer was? And this person is closing my 3 drawers.
Well, he's not closing them. He's opening and closing them. He's going through them. So this is her memory. The office represents the mind, and these are her records. And somebody is going through the records. We don't know what they're doing with them or why they're doing it. We didn't get that. But somebody who shouldn't be there is there. And her 3 dreams are pointing out issues with memory. Something's going on that you need to deal with. And once we dealt with it, of course, it stopped. And this is something that, every time we do a channeling class, we always get, if we have, say, 50 people in a course, we might have 3 people who have strange issues that they're already very aware of. They know there's something up and they're kind of hoping that by doing our course, they will learn how to channel and figure out what they need to do. But instead, what we do is we spot it and we send in the big guns. I won't say. We send in the big guns and they clear the issue up for them. And sometimes it takes a while because when you're attacked psychically, they also camouflage that attack. And so you might have a level of discomfort for a while. And then it's like, oh, everything is settled. But it's not settled. It's just what's been used on you is masked so that you're no longer aware that it's on you and you're no longer aware of the pain that it is actually causing because that pain has been masked as well. And so then they might do something else and something else. So depending on how long somebody's had an issue for, when we get to them, there might be layers and layers and layers of stuff on them. And so we take away the first layer, remove the camouflage, and then we have to see what else comes up. And it's not that it comes up. It's already there. But when the layer of camouflage is removed and the desensitizing is taken away, then they become aware of the next thing. And then we clear that and then the next thing. So it's kind of an iterative process. But we have helped countless people in this way. It is something that's pretty difficult to do in terms of it takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice. I don't do it. I escalate it, like I said, to the big guns, and they take all of that. But we see it in dreams, and we know straight away when we're channeling with people, it's like, okay, you've got a problem. We need to take you aside and help you with that problem. And then we can reintegrate you into the class when those issues have been dealt with. But we could have countless testimonies, I suppose, from people who we've helped in this way. Anyway, you asked about the drawers, but it's really like what's going on. Even in the second part, when she's on the bus and
Yeah, I was going to ask about the bus.
she sees, wow, look, I've just been in this place and
Right.
my family members are being talked about in this newspaper. I think it was a newspaper. And then somebody else grabs it when she puts it down. She said she tried to hand it back to the person who handed it to her, but she put it down to hand it back to him, like, here you go. But someone else grabbed it to read it. So again, we see this nefarious influence from another person who shouldn't be there and shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Yeah, so how is Kay doing today?
She's absolutely fine. Here's what else I'd say. If a nefarious person puts in a lot of energy to track you, they also put monitors on you. And if anyone else tunes into you, they get dealt with. Let's say those monitors hit whoever's tuning in hard. And I get asked to clear people about 15 times a week. It's just something we do. No problem. It's part of reality. But sometimes my angel team warn me to not even tune into somebody because they know I will get clobbered if I tune into that person. And in those cases, I escalate it to someone on our team who excels at these clearings. In fact, loves them. It's like, bring it, you know. But if you're ever going to study anything with a school, make sure that they know about these things and they know how to keep you safe with, you know, how do I channel properly? We call our webinar How to Channel Safely. And we make sure it's safe. And we make sure everybody in the groups that we're in are safe. I say all the time, don't ever be in a group where you're told to merge with other people or your own sovereignty is violated by the host. Sovereignty is key. So if you're in a channeling group and you're channeling and other people are channeling and you're just doing your own connections, that's all fine. But there are a lot of groups out there that you have to be very wary of. Like, why do they do what they do? When you can channel, you can always ask your guides, is this something I should involve myself in or not? And if your guides say no, then just don't do it. Don't second guess your guides. They always know the full reasons behind why you shouldn't do something. And it's always surprising. There is so much more behind the scenes than we ever really know.
Yeah, that was very good, Michael. I'm glad you covered all of this. Very interesting. And I'm still surprised. Anyways, we got one more dream, maybe a positive one we can end on before we see what April's up to.
Yeah, let's change the vibe of the show.
All righty. The next one is Spiritual Retreat Friday, and this is from Jane. I was at a spiritual retreat. A woman was talking in a ceremony, and no one was listening. I sat to listen, and others followed. That's a short one.
Yeah. It's interesting. We go through the world and we look outside of us for what are the issues? What's going on? What do I need to address? If there's a problem in my life, it has to be external. If I don't feel loved, the solution must be external. If I don't feel safe, the solution must be external. It isn't. But because of evolution, we look outside ourselves. But any work that you ever do to improve yourself, to feel safe, to feel loved, is always internal. And so there's two ways to find out what a person's issues are. Look at their dreams and see what's going on inside. Like, do they hide from others? Do they keep people at a distance? Or do they feel the pain and the trauma for this person who's being ignored? And that will be an external reflection of the trauma that you're trying to avoid yourself. And so this dream says that the dreamer wasn't loved. And I asked her, would she do this in reality? If this had happened and she was out there and everybody was ignoring this person, would she sit down? She said, absolutely, I would, because I would feel so bad for that person. And she would feel bad, like she does in the dream, because that was the pain she experienced. And so for her, it's just super amplified. And she can't even bear someone else to go through it. So it's like, I'm going to help you. And so it's interesting how two different things, how we operate in the outside world and how we think on the inside and feel on the inside, both point to the same issues.
So what is the ceremony? What does that have to do with anything in this dream?
Well, here it emphasizes like this woman has something of value. So it's very likely that the dreamer is into things that her friends aren't into, or she doesn't have a tribe that she can share with. And so that shows up this way too in the dream. Like, what I feel is precious, other people don't feel as precious. But it's a second layer.
Very interesting. Alrighty, it's now time for April.
Thanks, Sandy. And thanks to everyone for sending in dreams to the radio show. I'm enjoying reading all of them. And this week I chose a dream from someone I'm going to call Paul, and it's titled ATM Payout. Thank you for giving me a title for your dream, by the way. It starts off saying, "It's a bright summer's day. I have a limp in my right leg. I'm walking off the road and I'm about to pass between some parked cars. A woman driving a car could easily pass me, but stops and flips me off. She is short with dark hair, and the passenger, also a woman, is taller than her. I think she had light colored hair, but I can't remember. I carry onto the sidewalk and turn the corner, and there's an ATM which spits out clear bags of money 3 times. The notes are larger than in real life. I'm trying to pick it all up. People are walking past, looking, but not helping or saying anything. I'm thinking, how am I supposed to carry all of this to the police station? And where is the station?" He added a note to say, "The Dream Dictionary says money is the heart/circulation. Even though I don't live in the USA, the currency was green and the $20 notes did stand out to me." Okay, so, well, this dream starts off, it's sunny. So it was meant to be a healing dream because it's a bright summer's day. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in the dream, but you never mention how it made you feel. And it always adds to the interpretation when you include how you were feeling in the dream. But it doesn't surprise me that you didn't share the feelings because of what this dream is about. So, and then it says that you're walking with a limp in your right leg. Legs are about foundation. So we're going to see something about the foundation. Like usually that's childhood. That's where our foundation is built. And then you said that the right leg was the one that was limping. So it's like there's an impairment with the masculine energy, or like how you're moving towards your future. And then you mentioned turning a corner, which means that you need to change and go in another direction, but in what way? So let's keep going. Let's look at the money. When you find money in a dream, it represents the heart and emotions. And you're right about that. And one of the rules of dream interpretation is that everything in the dream is used. So this money is yours in the dream, but you're deciding that you need to turn it in to the police station, which is super noble to do in reality, but it's not the right thing to do in a dream. So in this dream, it's kind of like you're being given all this money and you kind of just dump it. It's like you're deciding to get rid of it. So it kind of tells me that you don't really feel worthy of receiving love. And it's kind of like you're carrying a wound or a pattern here that tells me that receiving isn't something that you got to experience enough of in childhood because the people in authority didn't make you feel worthy, and only they can decide. And I'm saying that because you're deciding to take the money to the authorities, to the police station, and let them decide what to do with it. So it's like they're the only ones who can decide if I'm worthy or not. So this money, it represents sharing in emotions. So it's saying that you have a hard time with that too. And it's almost like, I can't share what I don't have. And what you don't have is help. And so this paints a picture for me that when you were young, people would see what you were going through, but not offer help. And so you didn't get to practice sharing how you felt. It's like no one around you even seemed to care. Even if they saw you going through something, they just didn't do anything about it. So that's sad. Let's look at the woman who goes out of her way to take the time to stop and flip you off when you weren't really in her way. This paints a picture of how you were treated by mom or some other influential figure in your life. It's like someone would go off on you or make you feel like you were in their way when really you weren't. And then you said that she's short with dark hair and there was a taller woman in the car with her. This part is asking you to raise your awareness a bit. The dark-haired woman and the taller, light-haired woman asks you to move towards a more tolerance and acceptance and away from negative thoughts or even hate towards the feminine. You might even be a little bit quick to tell someone off who's barely doing anything to offend you. And then you said that there's 3 clear bags. This asks you to clear the issue. You said that there are 3 bags of green $20 notes. green is about the heart. So it's asking you to commit to the goal of balancing your heart. And we have a healing program that's starting on September 5th that's designed to help with exactly this kind of thing. So it's sad to imagine having childhood experiences with mom or women who have treated you this way, and then you have to experience it again in your dreams. But the dream is trying to help you know how to heal yourself. You need to commit to the goal of balancing your heart by healing your wounds at the root where they came from, which was childhood. So thank you for sending in this dream. I hope my interpretation helped. Michael and Sandy, back to you.
Mental note, watch your wallet around April. She won't give it to the cops. So I see what she did there, though. She talked about a course that we haven't talked about because she knows we're not going to talk about it. Okay, so April is running a course starting on September 5th. It's our healing course. I call it the Dream Tracker's Guide. It's a bad name, but the course is amazing. We've run it for 33 years. That's how long we're in this business. And it transforms your life. You can find out all about our courses on dream-analysis.com/courses. But this one, you will get maybe 50 of your dreams interpreted over about a 10-week period. Very high touch. You get private sessions for as long as you need it. And you get group calls with April every Thursday. It's very, very white glove. We help you identify the issues and help you heal those issues. I say we drag you by the ear and make you do what your dreams say, but that's just how I phrase it. That's me.
I love it. This is the course that made me want to build this school and to support this business and to get us going, because it was so powerful. The lives that it's changed has been really phenomenal. Anyways, Michael, I think that's all we have time for this week. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.